Who doesn't know basketball, American football, soccer, or baseball? These kinds of sports are so famous in the world that most countries follow them, in spite of these sports not being their own. But when you talk about local sports, you may be surprised by creative sports people have invented to pass the time. Some may be taken as an adaptation of famous sports, while others are ridiculously original. I'm Mike with List 25, and without further ado, here are the 25 most insane sporting events from around the world. 25. Cooper's Hill Cheese Rolling in Wake. Once a year, people living in the Cotswolds region of England hold a racing event that involves rolling a double Gloucester cheese from the top of Cooper's Hill and a crowd of people racing down to see who will catch the cheese first. This competition's fame has spread, and foreign competitors and spectators are joining in on the fun. 24. Hurling. Have you ever imagined what a combination of baseball, soccer, and hockey would look like? If you're not sure, then this sport fits the bill. They play wearing soccer clothes and shoes, a helmet, and fight over a baseball with wooden hockey stick-like objects. The goal of the game is to hit the ball as fast and as high as possible until it reaches the enemy goal. 23. Yukon Kanto. In Finland, there's an obstacle course game where men have to carry their wives on their shoulders with the head at the back and the feet at front, while running on a 250-meter track with 2 hurdle jumps and a shallow pool. 22. Buzkashi. The national sport of Afghanistan, it involves competitors riding a horse with the objective of getting a dead goat from other players and having it land on a circular goal line. It could be taken as a game of polo without the sticks and balls, but as fierce as American football with all the violence of kicking, bashing, and sometimes even shooting. 21. Eton wall game. In England, this game has exclusively been played for over 300 years now at Eton College. It may look like rugby or football to some, but it's a totally different game, involving a wall being the main field. Players of both teams must pile up in order to fight over the ball. You will only be able to score if you're near enough on one end of the wall, and you could kick the ball to anything that resembles a goal, such as a door or a tree. The Eton wall game is not as simple as it sounds. The last score was made back in 1909. 20. Highligh. Seen by many sports fans as a mix of handball and badminton, Highligh is commonly played by singles or doubles, and involves a racket that looks more like a huge scooping basket. The objective of the game is to shoot the ball into one side of the wall toward the enemy area. The opponent must catch the ball either right in midair or on the first bounce, which should also be bounced off the wall towards the other end. If not, it would be a deduction point against the failing team. 19. Chess boxing. Have you heard of 2 chess players that are wearing boxing gloves while moving pawns and rooks? While these scenarios may be weird, in Finland, boxing and chess are mixed together. Players play a round of chess, then a round of boxing, and then chess again until 11 alternating rounds have been played. It's the ultimate bout of brain and brawn. 18. Mountainbike Bog Snorkeling. As if snorkeling in a bog isn't enough to make you puke, using a mountain bike to journey into the icky, smelly water makes for a sport that's known the world over. Mountainbike Bog Snorkeling has been such a craze that this sport is not only played by natives, but is also attended by foreign competitors from different countries. There's even a world championship for this game. You need to go through the Wayne Reed Bog 2 times with the mountain bike being filled with lead, and you must have the shortest time record for the win. 17. Kabaddi. One member of a team goes to the opponent's territory, acting as a raider. If the raider is able to tag any of the opposing group and is able to get out from the opposite area, then it's 1 point. But if the raider has been tagged or squished before freedom calls, then it's 1 point for the other team. Whoever is tagged in both scenarios is out of the game. 16. Royal Shrovetide football. Can you just imagine playing football where your teammates and opponents belong in one village, populating to over hundreds and thousands? Moreover, could you think of a game that also involves kids and women passing the ball from one end to the other like there's no tomorrow? This is how the Royal Shrovetide football can be best described, as it has attracted the attention of thousands who play every year in the small village of Ashburn, England.
15.
Shin Kicking. Shin kicking, as plainly as it could be called, is a famous sport in Cotswold, England, near the same place where the cheese rolling became a recognized sporting event. The object of the game is to kick your opponent down by constantly bashing his shins. If you're able to win the best of 3 by knocking your enemy down, then you make yourself a winner.
14.
Bossaball. It would be nice if you could play beach volleyball and jump over the net while spiking the ball down towards the opponent. Though many people think that such feats can only be done by professionals, it may not be necessarily the case when you play a Brazilian beach volleyball game called bossaball. It's volleyball with an inflated court that has a trampoline for spikers.
13.
Freestyle Walking. There's a certain sport that provides consolation for those who aren't adept with skateboarding, rollerblading, or BMXing. It's what you call freestyle walking. In this fun sport, the only accessory you need for a good time is a pair of soap shoes that's intended for rail grinding. The sport has been so famous that video game characters like Sonic the Hedgehog and even Tidus from Final Fantasy X have done it in some parts of their games. Though I still call him Titus. It's never going to be Tidus, sorry.
12.
Ferret Legging. Ferret Legging is just one game that most players have to pass on. With 2 angry ferrets trapped in your pants, the day can quickly go bad. The record for the longest time was 5 hours. If you get a better time than that, let us know in the comments below or tweet it at us. I want to know.
11.
Dois Walking. Dois Walking is played by 2 teams, where one player of your team plays as the flanker while the opposing team dances around him. The objective of the game is to toss the beer-soaked rug to anyone within the circle. If it hits someone, then that person is it. The game finishes either once 4 rounds have been played, or everyone is so drunk they can't move normally anymore.
10.
Horison. Horison, touted in Switzerland as the game of the farmers, is a game that uses the principles of golf and baseball together. One team launches a rubber ball called a hornis with the help of a long flexible rod with a huge hard cork at the end. The opposing team then scores points by stopping it with huge placards. If the hornis is hit, then the opposing team gets a point. But if the hornis is missed and falls to the ground, then it's the other team's score.
9.
Ski bobbing. Although skiing and snowboarding are great speed sports during the winter, these fast-paced games also have their dangers, especially to those who might end up banging themselves on a tree. However, if you're the sports fan that has mastered the measure of both snow sports, then ski bobbing is for you. It's just like any other winter sport, except you now add a bike into the mix.
8.
Camel wrestling. You may have heard of cockfighting, pit bull fights, and even bullfights. The aforementioned are all extremely cruel and usually involve the death of one of the animals. But in camel wrestling, as it's done in Turkey, all is well because there are no blood spills, no casualties, and no guilty feeling in the end. The match is decided when either one runs away or when one of them hits the floor hard.
7.
Extreme ironing. Extreme ironing takes ironing in the most unpredictable of places, like on a wakeboard, on top of Mount Everest, in the ruins of certain countries, on the edge of a cliff, while parachuting, and more. Although it doesn't have actual events, teams and groups actually assemble and go places to show the world where ironing can be done, in the most unlikely spots.
6.
Henley on Todd boat race. Have you seen dragon boat racing or group canoeing with no water? This is the fun and weird part of playing the Henley on Todd boat race in Alice Springs along the dry Todd River in Australia. Over 20 teams actually compete in a dry boat race to the finish, where some of them are even established businesses and known corporate names. All boats included don't have bottoms, and players must run accordingly to reach the finish line with no falls whatsoever.
5.
Poohsticks. Who would have thought that someone like Winnie the Pooh would be able to inspire people in creating a sport? As weird as it may be, Poohsticks' popularity in Europe grew enough to create a world championship event for it. The objective of the game is to choose a stick, stand beside competitors on top of the bridge, and drop the sticks together. You need to race to the other side and see whose stick emerges first, which would obviously be the winner.
4.
Real Ale Wobble. If you think that this is a mere bike race on a calm midday, then you are very wrong. While these guys are not obviously wobbling on the road, this biking event, called Real Ale Wobble, has a different ring to it. As part of the annual Mid-Wales Beer Festival, in Wales, shockingly, racers need to know their routes and race first to the finish. It's not as simple as it sounds though. As the bike race progresses, you need to drink some booze on checkpoints and see who will not be lost or tipsy during the game. Obviously enough, those with high tolerance will win this competition.
3.
Worm charming. First of all, please know that worm charming is actually a legitimate sport in the UK. And second, the sport has been so popular to others that it even has a world championship event being held in Cheshire every year. Anyway, the rules are simple. You're given a patch of land, usually 3 by 3 meters, and you're challenged to use any possible methods of bringing out as many worms as you can within 30 minutes. I bet this sport is great for those looking for cheap lures that fish can bite.
2.
Conker smashing. Every October, teams from around the world are assembled together in Ashton, Northamptonshire in order to hold the World Conker Smashing Competition, which accommodates over 300 players. The rule of the sport is to attack anyone and have their conkers smashed so hard that they're eliminated from the game. What are conkers, you ask? These are the nuts of the horse chestnut tree, which have been tied to a knot, usually suspended as indicated in the game. You have to be fast, or your conker will be smashed.
1.
Bed racing. Bed racing is an old sport that started as early as 1965, which was only played by members of the American military. However, as time went by, bed racing became more popular around the world. The concept of such a race is to beat other competitors down to the finish line, but there are certain rules that must be followed. There have to be 6 players for pushing, and another one should be on the bed. The bed should also have the ability to float, as crossing a river is claimed to be the final event, although there are certain instances where the last event is disregarded. So, what's your favorite insane sport? Or what insane sport would you come up with? Let us know in the comments below, or tweet your answer to us at List25.
Enjoying our lists? Be sure to click that subscribe button on the bottom right and the notification bell so you don't miss out on new ones every Monday through Friday. Share them with friends and help us consistently conciliate curiosity. And if you want even more lists, check out these videos here or just head to our website at list25.com.